our second annual Mega Wellness Summit, where we are transforming lives one aha moment at a time. I'm your host, Nikki Jensen, and thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this event with your friends and family. Today we're talking to Wendy Myers on how to enhance our mind with minerals.
When people ask me how my Mineral Power program started, it really started with my father. In 2009, he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. It was during that time that I started to study cancer and its causes, and I was desperately trying to help him and keep him with us, but it was too late. I was just angry. I started to ask questions. Why is everyone so sick? Why do 1 in 3 people get cancer? And is Big Pharma keeping people sick so that they can profit from their illness? And I began to do heavy research. Along the way, I discovered something called hair mineral analysis. At first, I was really skeptical, but as I read more, I started to consider, what a toxic world that we live in, full of stressors. Everyone is so stressed and not getting enough sleep, and we have so many heavy metals in our environment. It just began to dawn on me that these are the true underlying causes of diseases. I was discovering this while I was going through health issues myself. I was having a hard time losing weight no matter what I did. I was working out 6 to 8 hours a week and eating a perfect diet, organic, healthy, fresh food, was not losing weight. I just began to feel extremely fatigued. I was suffering from extreme brain fog. I wasn't able to recall simple facts. I felt angry a lot, which was very unlike my character. It scared me to death. I didn't know what was wrong. And I went to a doctor, and I was very dismayed to learn that I had hypothyroidism, stage 3 adrenal fatigue, hormones of a menopausal woman at 37. My doctor wanted to put me on hormone replacement therapy, but I said, I don't think so. It set me out on a journey. How can I heal my adrenals and thyroid naturally? There has to be a way. I thought, I've got nothing to lose. I discovered hair mineral analysis, and I thought, I'll just give it a try and see what it tells me and see where it leads me. When the results came back, I found I had a lot of heavy metal toxins in my system. I was very surprised to learn that I was mercury toxic, I was aluminum toxic, and I had cadmium toxicity. It was actually a relief to find out because it gave me a clue as to the underlying causes of my health issues. It gave me a clear roadmap and real hope that I could get back to myself. And that's what happened. After I got on this corrective plan, I regained my energy, my brain fog lifted, I got my weight to where I wanted it to, I normalized my metabolism, my mood stabilized, the anger just melted away, and I became my normal, happy, calm self. And I cannot tell you what a just relief that was to come back to myself, to revisit myself, because for a few years there, I didn't think that was going to happen. Many people go to doctor after doctor after doctor and do not see any improvement in their health issues. And not only that, in this runaround that they're getting in our mainstream medical system, their health continues to decline. And unless you are looking at heavy metal toxicities and chemical toxicities and mineral deficiencies, you are completely missing the boat. These are the true underlying causes of diseases. And when you take care of these issues in the body, health issues begin to reverse. Today, my biggest message to women has got to be that it's not your fault. Diet, exercise, and eating right are just not enough these days. You have to add a detox component to your health regimen, or you do not have any hope in today's toxic world. Looking back, this is a journey that started out with so much pain and so much darkness, but now it's something very, very different. My own health struggles have set me on a path, bringing light, health, and clarity back into your life. I realized that I just deserve to feel better, that we all deserve to feel better, to have more energy and to not be scared. And now we just have to take action and give ourselves that gift.
This is definitely a show you will want to take notes for and listen to over and over again. Mineral deficiency is rampant, especially if you live in the U.S. Plus, it's a huge factor as to why we aren't living to our fullest potential. So thanks to Wendy. She's going to tell us all about the power of minerals. Welcome, Wendy. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, this is so fun. I'm really excited to talk about this because I know that this is a very important aspect of wellness for people. I mean, we're so affected by so many things in our world where we can't get grounded. We're just, our thought process is all over the place. Our brain is bogged down. I mean, it literally just happened to me today. So,
Yeah.
I think it's happening to a lot of other people too, where it's just they're not really sure how to get their brain functioning correctly. And when your brain doesn't function correctly, then the mind wanders. And it doesn't get you anywhere, but, leads to unproductive. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, brain fog is a huge problem today. I mean,
Right.
before I started remineralizing my body and detoxing about 5 years ago, I had horrible brain fog. It was terrible, and I was having trouble socializing because I couldn't think of words, and I was just having a lot of trouble with remembering all the nutrition stuff that I was reading, and it was very, very frustrating. I think a lot of people today are really struggling with brain fog and mental clarity.
Well, that's funny that you just brought that up because this is what happens to me every time I eat sushi. I am at a loss for words. And I think it's because it's an overabundance of mercury in the sushi. And I really do feel that the mercury is affecting my brain. Like, really, loss for words is, I believe, that to be mercury poisoning.
Yeah, mercury really is a serious neurotoxin, and it's actually the number one toxin that I find when I do hair mineral analysis or urine metals push tests to, discover someone's metal toxicity levels. Mercury is the number one toxicity, and it's sad because it's in our fish and our oceans mainly because of coal burning. So that, brings mercury into the air, and that mercury settles into our oceans and the, food chain, and then gets into our fish. And the most popular fish people eat are ahi tuna, and those live for like 30 years. So they have 30 years to bioaccumulate mercury, and then it gets into us and accumulates in fat and brain cells. Mercury loves fat, so since our brains are comprised mainly of fat, just gets in there, and it can cause 100 different symptoms and different different even diseases. It can mimic like multiple sclerosis, and really can do a number on our memory and our mental functioning.
Wow, who knew, right? It's like we don't ever really figure out what's wrong with us until we start listening to summits like this and getting all the different information on what's going on. So, I also listened to a telesummit, and a lady goes on and she's talking about mercury poisoning and how she's at a loss for words. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that totally happens to me. And then she says, it's the only way that I could really think of what happened is because I ate a lot of sushi. But I can eat a little bit of sushi and still days later I'm at loss for words. Like, what is the word that goes with that? Like, I'm totally spaced out.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Well, how do we fix that?
Well, detoxification of mercury and other metals, it's a little bit of a process, but you can get started today with a little biohack that I like to do. I like to take herb farm cilantro extract. It's not as simple as just eating cilantro. This is a very, very concentrated extract, And when you eat fish, you can take about 20 drops of this cilantro, and it will bind onto the mercury and other metals as well. There's lots of different metals in fish, but especially shellfish, lots of toxic metals in shellfish. But this cilantro will bind to it, bind to some of these metals, including mercury, and remove them from your body. So that's what I do if I indulge in sushi or have a tuna salad or something like that. I tend to try to, avoid the tuna as much as possible. But if I slip, then I have my little bottle of the Herb Farm cilantro and take that.
Okay, so tell us again where you get it.
Well, you can get it at my store. It's store.live2110.com, live2110.com. But you can get it on Amazon, too. It's pretty common.
Okay, great. So we can just go right to your website and we can purchase the cilantro. Yeah. It's an oil?
It's actually just in a little tincture. So it's in an alcohol tincture, like a liquid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who makes it?
It's by Herb Farm. And it's totally organic. It's a really nice product. Yeah, because mercury's no joke. I mean, it causes adrenal fatigue. Mercury can accumulate in your adrenals and in your thyroid and wreak havoc with those glands and your energy levels. I mean, it can cause anxiety, anger, a lot of different emotional problems. And definitely not to mention autism in children. That's the mother is mercury toxic. She can pass that on to her child via the placenta, create lots of problems for that developing fetus and their brain. ADHD as well, definitely cause brain fog, chronic fatigue, the depression. The list just goes on and on and on. On my website, I have an article on mercury, probably about 100 different symptoms associated with mercury. It's really nasty stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to turn this into a vaccine conversation, but then, they're giving flu shots which is filled with mercury, thimerosal in the flu shot. They're injecting pregnant mothers, which I'm sure that the mercury is going straight to the placenta, and and then we inoculate our newborns. And you know how I feel about that. Anyways, we won't go there. But,
and I'm right there with you. I'm against injecting toxins into the body, but some mothers want to do that. But one needs to educate themselves further before just simply trusting their pediatrician or trusting their doctor, because doctors just kind of routinely do what they were taught in medical school. And pediatricians make about 50% of their income from doing vaccinations. So you need to be careful about the doctor's motivations and whatnot, but more importantly, be concerned about the health of your child. My daughter was diagnosed with autism following, her vaccinations, her routine vaccinations. They did not have thimerosal in them. They did not have preservatives in them, but still, she got a brain injury of some kind, or it was just that straw that broke the camel's back. Perhaps she was just part of that vulnerable population. But following that, I did not give her vaccinations, and she's recovered. Thankfully, I've also detoxed aluminum and other toxic metals from her brain, and so she is able to function normally now. Thankfully. But a lot of people are not as lucky. So you really want to rethink the common practices that people have today in this country regarding vaccination.
So is that how you got started in this health field? And is it trying to heal your daughter?
That actually wasn't. Thankfully, I had already researched autism and toxins and everything prior to her diagnosis. So, boom, I knew exactly what to do to detox her. I knew exactly what was going on. So I got a very fast turnaround. There was no learning curve for me. But what initially got me started in nutrition was actually just planning my pregnancy and studying nutrition for a couple years and studying about removing toxins from your environment. And that got me rethinking everything, rethinking all the cleansers and my makeup and beauty products and, products I'd use on my child for her bath. And that's when I really got interested in nutrition and health and began studying health and nutrition, et cetera. I went to nutrition school. But following the birth of my daughter, my father was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and that set me on the path of studying the causes of cancer and disease and toxins and, why so many people are having cancer diagnoses and why is there so much illness and why is everyone on medications? It was just crazy to me, and I had so many questions. So based on that, I began, publishing what I was researching and learning on my website on liveto110.com. And then unfortunately my father passed away from his cancer, from his esophageal cancer. And that just, really got me into detoxification and really for my own fear, out of fear of not wanting to die like he did. It was very agonizing and painful. I know so many other families are going through this. And so for me, I wanted to detox myself. I wanted to prevent cancer, and so I created a protocol. It's called Mineral Power, and that basically is able to assess people's toxicity levels, assess their minerals and general nutrition level, and it's just a program that hits on all cylinders: diet, lifestyle, detox, and custom supplements, a customized supplement protocol. And in doing that, I think people are, very well able to detox their body and prevent disease.
Mhm. So were you making a connection between mineral deficiency and cancer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, any person who has cancer that comes to me, all their mineral levels are very, very, very low. And that happens for a number of reasons. It happens from stress. It happens from poor nutrition, which can deplete minerals. Like if you eat fast food or lots of carbs, refined carbohydrates, those deplete minerals even more, because it takes minerals to process those because they're completely devoid of minerals. And, it just comes from a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of different reasons people are mineral deficient. But over time, if you don't have adequate mineral levels, your immune system cannot protect you. And it's when that happens, when your immune system can no longer protect you, when cells aren't multiplying properly, when we don't have the correct levels of minerals and nutrients for cells to divide properly, then mutated cells are created. And then when those grow into a tumor, and that could turn into a malignant tumor. And so it's that whole process whereby people develop cancer and then add in toxic metals, chemicals. The CDC has established we have 500 chemicals on average in each person. And add all that to the mix in one person's body, and that's the reason we have so much cancer and disease. Yeah.
And so you're able to do hair tests? Is that what you can? Okay. And so what's your background as far as being able to detect and, give people the answers of the minerals that they're deficient in and how to help them get their health back and to be able to think better?
Yeah, well, I do a number of tests. I'm a functional diagnostic nutritionist, so I use functional medicine to get my clients better. But I begin with a hair mineral analysis and a very thorough health history to assess their toxicity exposure. And based on that test, I can see their mineral levels and their thyroid and adrenal functioning, their metabolic rate, even their immune system functioning, kidney functioning, if they're eating too little or too much protein, lots of different information. And then, of course, assess their metal toxicities. But I can also do urine metals push tests using certain chelators to push out the metals. and liver ability detox tests, and just really all different kinds of tests, gut pathogen tests, to really give me a lot of information about someone's health and how to detox them. Based on someone's toxic metals, I give them different chelators and different products to absorb those metals. So people get like a custom protocol, supplement protocol specific to their body chemistry and their needs, and specific chelators and products to get rid of their toxic metals.
So I have talked to many doctors about mercury poisoning and candida.
Yeah.
So what I have heard, now I never would recommend anybody to detox on their own and to try to detox, especially mercury, without the help of a professional. Because what I have learned is that if you have candida present and you also have mercury poisoning, then they bind together, the candida and mercury. So would you be able to detect both of them, and that you would know the proper ways to detox them best?
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Klinghardt talks a lot about this, about how when you have parasites and toxic metals, they kind of potentiate each other. Where when you have, if you have high levels of candida in the body, which can be assessed with tests or even symptoms, many people you can just look at their symptoms and know that they have candida. The body will raise candida levels to clean up mercury, to keep it in check. But additionally, if you have mercury, it will foster high candida levels. So it's kind of like this catch-22. So you kind of have to work on them both at the same time. Same with copper. When people have copper toxicity, people also have high yeast levels or candida levels. So when I see that people have high mercury and high copper, I automatically know that they have candida issues. That's just like a given. But I don't always address candida specifically. I just have every one of my clients do an infrared sauna. And by heating up the body, raising the body's temperature a couple degrees, 3 degrees every single day or almost every day, that will start to kill off the yeast infection. So we slowly bring down the mercury levels, slowly get the candida under control, and then they continue to improve when those two things are happening simultaneously. But you do have to detox slowly and safely. And I think a lot of doctors are out there recommending like IV chelation and whatnot. And that can be very, very, can hospitalize some people. It can be very dangerous. I think a lot of doctors don't get that you have to assess the liver's detox capability before you do give anyone any kind of chelator, be it IV or a capsule, oral, etc. Because some people have very poor liver function and some people have amazing liver function. And those two people need very, very different programs for detoxification. It's also very important to give people glutathione and selenium, other chelators, sodium R-lipoic acid to help to facilitate detox. So again, it's one of those things, you have to create a custom protocol based on where people are at with their health, liver function, health conditions, etc.
Okay, so in regards, we're going to just go back to copper for 1 second. What are the symptoms relating to having high levels of copper in the body?
Well, there's a lot of different symptoms, a lot of different mental symptoms. There's definitely anxiety and depression. When anyone has a lot of anxiety, I automatically, will look into if they have copper toxicity. And that can be assessed in a number of ways. But also mind racing, when someone's mind is just going, and it's doing that before they go to bed and they can't go to sleep. They wake up frequently during the night and they just can't shut their brain off. That can be a sign of copper toxicity as well, because copper stimulates the production of stimulating neurotransmitters, so epinephrine, norepinephrine, etc. And so people frequently don't have other relaxing kind of neurotransmitters like GABA to turn that off. So copper was very, very stimulating, very exhilarating. Many creative people are copper toxic, actors and artists and things of that nature. Really gives them this wonderfully creative mind. But it can also cause brain fog, fatigue, anger, mood swings, PMS. People have really, really bad PMS. Copper can definitely be a factor. Really any kind of like female reproductive issues. But as far as just mental functioning, those are, the main symptoms associated with copper toxicity.
Where are we getting all this copper from that we would become so high?
Well, we're not getting it from the soil because most soil is deficient. A lot of men have copper deficiency, whereas many females have copper excess. Part of it is when we become pregnant. Our fetuses need a lot of copper to build their nervous system because copper conducts electricity. That's why we use it in electrical wires. So when we become pregnant or have had multiple pregnancies, women typically can accumulate copper much more so than, say, a female who has not had a child. Number two, when we have adrenal fatigue, when many people do today are in some stage of adrenal fatigue. If you are tired, you're probably in some stage of adrenal fatigue. And when that happens, copper will build up in our bodies because it creates a situation of the body. I won't get too into specifics, but it reduces production of this protein we need to utilize copper, to make it bioavailable in our bodies. And when we have adrenal fatigue, we're not able to utilize our copper and it will build up in our bodies. Some people develop, accumulate it because they have copper piping in their house, or they're swimming a lot in a pool and chlorine has copper in it. So there's a few other, unique situations where people can accumulate copper, but it's really mainly from adrenal fatigue.
So there's copper in our water, I believe, right?
It depends. Some municipal sources use it because it kills fungus. It kills yeast, and the body knows this too. So it'll accumulate copper if we have yeast or candida infections. But yes, it's added to some, but not all municipal water sources. So Ideally, you want to check your water to see the toxins that it has in it.
Right. Well, I mean, if chlorine carries copper, then our water definitely has chlorine in it. All tap water pretty much does. So if you're bathing without any sort of purifier, then you're just absorbing the toxins within the water, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And some municipal sources add extra copper on top of that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Well, and so I thank you so much for really putting that into context, because then we can put ourselves into, that is happening to me. Maybe I should get myself tested to see, if I am at a toxic level. And so what are the best ways to test your mineral deficiencies for one, but your toxicity level?
Well, you know what? I wanted to talk about first another group of toxins that can really affect our mental functioning, and those are aluminum and arsenic, tin, and thallium. These are a specific group of metals that poison enzymes that transport nutrients into our mitochondria, or our cells' powerhouses. They make our energy, our ATP. And when we have any or all of the above of those toxicities, our ability to produce energy is drastically reduced. And if you have less energy, you have less energy for brain functioning, or to exercise, or do some of the things that we need to have good mental clarity. And so these types of metals, these metal toxicities are very, very common, especially aluminum. That's in our tap water as well. It causes sediment to sink to the bottom. So a lot of municipal water sources will use it. But it's in deodorant. We're slathering it on our underarms every day. And it's used in cheap cookware at restaurants. And it's used as an anti-caking and drying agent in flour and salt. And so it's just all over the place.
In the air.
It's in the air. We're breathing a lot of this stuff in. And then there's arsenic. Arsenic is found in conventional chickens because the antibiotic they feed them to grow faster has arsenic. And also, again, very common water toxin, especially well water. And it's also found in pesticides. Tin is found in tin cans. And also dental fillings, mercury fillings, a lot of different sources. And thallium, that is added to gasoline to prevent knocking in car engines. So anyone living in an urban environment is breathing that in via the auto exhaust and smog. And thallium actually prevents certain parts of your brain from communicating with each other. It's a very, very nasty, insidious toxin. And a lot of these metals also are involved in preventing the absorption of your amino acids, your proteins that you're eating. Many of my clients on their hair tests, I see they have certain levels of minerals that are, evidence that they're not absorbing their proteins. And it's because those proteins take a lot of energy to absorb. And when you have these metal toxicities, this aluminum, arsenic, tin, and thallium, the enzymes that transport those amino acids into your cells are kind of the first to go, and you just don't have the energy for them to function. And when you don't have amino acids, you don't have the basic building blocks of your neurotransmitters for your brain to work and for you to feel good, the serotonin and dopamine and GABA, etc. So these metals are very, very insidious, and they reduce your brain functioning, reduce production of neurotransmitters, and just the general absorption of your nutrients that you need for your whole body to work.
Right. Thank you for adding that. I appreciate it. And you mentioned mitochondria. For those who don't know what that word is, can you break that down for us?
Yes, those are just your little cells' powerhouses. There are these, little, organelles in your cells, and they make your body's energy. That's basically what they do.
And how important is our gut bacteria in relation to having a good brain?
Well, of course, you need to have the correct, ratio of good to bad bacteria. You need to be able to, have a solid gut lining, a very healthy gut lining so you can absorb nutrients. But because of some of these metal toxicities that I talked about, the aluminum, arsenic, tin, and thallium, if you have some of these toxicities and you don't have adequate levels of energy, you can develop leaky gut as a result.
Right.
Because the cells that line your gut, it takes a lot of energy to hold those together. And the more toxic people become, the less energy they have, the more likely they are to develop leaky gut. Then when we have mercury fillings that have silver in them, silver kills good gut bacteria. So does the chlorine in the water. So do all the antibiotics that we're taking. So a lot of people today have a really poor gut flora. They don't have adequate numbers of healthy, good bacteria, and they have an overgrowth of bad bacteria. But I have clients do the infrared sauna. That works very well to kill off bad bacteria, which are weaker in general than our healthy flora and fauna. So that really is very, very effective at killing off bad bacteria and parasites and candida, etc. So over time, with a healthy diet, low sugar, low or no refined grains and things that feed, those bad gut bacteria, you can restore your flora and fauna in your gut back to normal. But it does take time.
Mm-hmm. I know that with doing lots of probiotics that I feel better to where I'm replenishing that good gut bacteria. I do a lot of kombucha and fermented foods. But sometimes I feel like it's just not doing much. I feel better, but at the same time I feel like it's not enough. So what do you think is going on as far as when people are doing the right thing? They're taking their probiotics every day. They're, eating fermented foods with good probiotics and drinking kombucha. And then on top of that, they're taking, their greens like they should be. They're eating right. They're eating an organic diet. But they're still not making any headway with how they feel, especially when it comes to brain function. What do you think what is going on? What do you think they should be doing instead?
Well, that is my main message on my website on live110.com, and exactly the position I was in, 5+ years ago, because I was eating the fermented foods. I was taking probiotics. I was taking a whole bag full of supplements, a whole shopping bag full of supplements every day. I was eating organic, freshly prepared food from the farmer's market. I was sleeping 8 hours a night. I was exercising. I felt like crap. What do I have to do? I was like, what do I got to do? And the missing component is detoxification, because there's no exception to the rule. In our toxic environment today, with 100,000 chemicals and all these toxic metals that we've dug up from the earth to put in our computers and to put in our electrical wiring and all our modern conveniences, we have unleashed all these toxins into our environment that our bodies can't handle. Yeah, our bodies are detoxing every day on their own, but they're accumulating at such a rate in our body that our bodies can't handle them on their own anymore, and we need to assist them. And when your body is mineral deficient, you are more apt to accumulate toxic metals, because the body can use toxic metals for various tasks in the body if the preferred mineral is deficient. We need to assist the body to detox by giving it adequate levels of glutathione and vitamin C and other nutrients needed to escort toxic metals out of the body, and do detox protocols, the most effective ones that are proven to work, like infrared saunas. And only by doing this for an extended period of time are most people able to detox all the metals and chemicals that they have. But that's a missing component people aren't thinking about as a daily detox regimen, because diet and lifestyle and exercise are not enough today. They just aren't.
Yeah, I agree. I do all those things as well, and I still have days, a lot of days, where I'm like, I don't feel very good, I'm sluggish, I'm unproductive, and, I eat very clean. I take all my greens, and, it's still, it's definitely still a struggle. So, for last year, for those who listened to Mega Wellness Summit in 2015, probably got a lot of nuggets of how to enhance your health, right? And then they applied it to their life, and then come a year later, they're going, okay, well, I changed, I did everything that I was supposed to do, and then I still have days where I feel like crap. And so it's definitely a myriad of things that are going on nowadays that we have to look at. And it's just not that quick and simple answer where it's like, oh, just take more probiotics, or decrease the sugar, or don't eat this and do eat that. And it goes far beyond that now. And it really does. So that's why I'm so grateful that you're part of Mega Wellness Summit, and you're able to really help people by reading their tests and giving them some tangible information that they can leave with, and give them answers. And that's what people are really looking for, are answers.
Yeah, and that's what I really loved about hair mineral analysis, and why I fell in love with it, is because I was dealing with my own health issues. Like I mentioned, I felt like I was doing all the right things and taking the best supplements, and I was like, why am I so tired all the time? Why can't I lose weight? And Why do I have brain fog all the time and memory issues? And so I sought out help with my naturopathic doctor. And, they want the usual thing. They found adrenal fatigue and thyroid dysfunction and wanted me to put me on hormones. So I was like, I'm 37. I don't want to go on hormone replacement, even though I have hormone levels of a menopausal woman. But I had a lot of other little problems like anemia and a lot of other little things. And I sought out a natural means to get healthier. Because I thought there has to be a way to reverse these things naturally. I don't need to go on medication just yet. And I just happened to find hair mineral analysis. So I thought, hey, I'll try it out. And I really found a lot of the answers that I had been looking for. It really filled in a lot of the pieces of the puzzle for me. Like the metal toxicities that I had, when I looked at those symptoms, I was like, aha, that's why I feel that way. That's why I have floaters in my eyes, because of the mercury. I would ask all these doctors, why do I have all these floaters, these things in my eyes? No,
what do you mean by that? What does that mean, floaters?
Well, they're just little things you can see in your vision. Like, it's not lint floating around. It's these little floaters are caused by mercury. It's kind of hard to see. Not everybody has them. There's little tiny things. Just
you can see it kind of floating in your eye, like it was a cell kind of going back and forth?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Or is it something like, I have lint in my eye, or, it's like itchy eyes?
Well, no, you can't feel them so much. It's just these little things you can see floating in your vision, but they're very, very small. Many people have become accustomed to them and don't see them. But for me, all the symptoms associated with my toxicities, I had cadmium, I had mercury, I had arsenic, I had aluminum, I had so many metals, and it just really gave me a lot of answers that I didn't find or didn't get from my doctor. And it gave me a plan to detox these metals and chemicals, which made so much more sense to me, because you can't get healthy. I mean, you can bring yourself to a certain point by changing your diet, exercise a little more, sleeping better, taking some good supplements. You can get yourself up to a certain point. But to reach like the echelon, the energy and the mental functioning that people are seeking today, you have to get rid of these metals and chemicals. And so for me, hair mineral analysis provided a window into my health issues and a plan to get rid of them, to get rid of these toxins. And today I feel great. It's 100% difference. I'm still looking for better brain function. I'm always, chasing the carrot to try to, detox myself, because it's it can take a while depending on how toxic you are.
Right.
But I'm much less toxic than I was, a few years ago. And I feel great. I wake up in a great mood. I have energy. My brain works really well. I'm doing so many things I never thought that I'd be able to do. I thought that I was just getting older, and there are just certain things that I couldn't do anymore. And that's not the case. You just have to get rid of the metals interfering in your brain's function and your body's metabolic function.
And add in the right minerals. So that's something I really, if you can address with our audience, is can you give us a couple of minerals, a handful of minerals that you suggest to enhance the mind and the brain?
Yes. Well, the first one is magnesium. Most people today are magnesium. When we're stressed, the cells release magnesium, and it's the first mineral to go. It's the most important one. It's needed for about 4,000 and counting, functions in the body. So I take a few different forms of magnesium. I take magnesium glycinate. I take magnesium citrate in the form of natural calm. I take magnesium threonate. It's a specific magnesium for the brain. And you want to take about 5 times your body weight in pounds in milligrams per day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need about 1,000 milligrams of magnesium per day.
Okay.
So that's a lot. It's a lot more than you're getting in your multivitamin. And a lot of people find when they do that, they're more relaxed, their muscles aren't as tight, they sleep better, and they feel more relaxed because magnesium and zinc and calcium, those are very relaxing minerals. People tend to feel so much better physically and mentally when they tank up on these minerals.
You know, and I heard from David Avocado Wolf, who's like my idol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know him, right?
Yes.
Of course. You know, he said in a podcast years ago that what we don't realize is that we need to be taking a lot more. When we take a medicine, a pharmaceutical, you should be taking a little bit in dosage-wise. But when we take minerals in, when we're taking in vitamins, it's more, the more the better, is what he said.
Yeah, well, so the problem is minerals are very bulky. You know, you need a lot more that's in your 1 or 2 pill a day multivitamin. That's just not going to cut it. You know, you just need so many more minerals that are in that little pill. And that's what turns people off. A lot of people don't like to take a lot of pills, but because our soils are so deficient, even if they're organic, even if your food is organic, the soils are deficient, and you're just not able to get what you need. Add stress on top of that, which depletes minerals further. And you've got to take minerals. You have to take a lot of them. And it's best to not do that blindly. It's best to do a test, like a hair mineral analysis, and see what types you need specifically. Because not everybody needs calcium. Not everybody needs, certain other types of minerals. But I find most people need extra chromium, extra selenium. Everyone needs magnesium. A lot of people need extra zinc over and above what they're getting in the red meat that they're eating. But a lot of people are in trouble because they're mineral deficient. Their bodies can't work properly without these minerals.
I agree. So take me through, if I was going to sign up with you today as your client, take me through that process. So do we meet every week? Do I go to your house? Do you do things over the phone?
Yeah, well, it's actually very easy. If you buy a Mineral Power program, you immediately can download the instructions to cut your hair, to sample your hair, and you just download the lab form. It's a little one page, and you just send your hair off to the lab. You can do that the same day, and then as soon as the lab processes it, we email you so you can make an appointment. And I do the appointment over phone or Skype, whatever you like. And it's easy. You just can do everything from the comfort of your own home. And if the same goes for all the other different types of functional medical tests I do, you're just sent a kit, and you can just do it at home. Very easy.
Fine. I know for your Mineral Power program is the most powerful ways to heal your body, increase energy, reduce brain fog, and so that people can start thinking clearer, stop having so many thoughts run through our head, and easing the mind so that we can free ourselves. It's like a freedom thing, instead of being trapped to really the deficiencies of life, really.
Yeah.
So, and I'm so grateful because, for one, you're giving away $100 giving them $100 off of your program, and I know that your program's amazing. I really do. So that's pretty huge. And so people that want to take advantage of this offer, it's not going to be around forever. Please use coupon code Nikki, NIKKI 100 all together. So once again, coupon code Nikki 100. So yeah, thank you so much. That's amazing. That's a wonderful gift.
Yeah, and I'd like to do that just to help people, give them a little bit of help to get started, because once they discover hair mineral analysis and everything that it reveals about their health, people really get into it. Like, I have a lot of clients that actually become hair mineral analysis practitioners themselves because they've been helped so much by it. Mm-hmm. And people don't realize when you start taking the minerals you need, you start sleeping better, you feel more calm, your anxiety is reduced. I hear that from almost every single client. within, a month or so of starting the program. And then one by one, when you're giving your body what it needs and removing the toxins interfering in your body's function, it doesn't matter what your health diagnosis is or what your symptoms are, one by one, they begin falling away. But it takes time. This is not a process that happens overnight. But it does take about 2 years to detox. That's, the majority of toxins and chemicals you have. But it's not that short of time figuring that, you've been accumulating toxins for 30, 40, 50 plus years. It takes a little time to turn that ship around, and you want to do it slowly and safely as well. Your body can only release so many toxins at a time. It takes time to remineralize in your body. Your body can only absorb so many minerals at one time, at one meal, so you kind of have to do it, strategically. But once you start on the program, like for me, I used to get canker sores all the time, and those were far and few between. I used to get sick constantly. I had a toddler, and about 8 months into the program, I very rarely got sick anymore. My lips were peeling. Just like weird little things that are a nuisance but really aren't enough to drive you to a physician. But all these little things, teeth sensitivity, all these things began going away. Plus, over time, my adrenals healed. My adrenal functioning is normal. My thyroid functioning is normal. I got off my thyroid medication. That's not going to happen for everyone, but for a lot of people, it can. And, my anemia was resolved. A lot of my nutrient deficiencies were resolved. Mental health issues were resolved. Anger and anxiety just were banished. So, and many clients do find one by one their headaches or whatever their problem is begins to resolve. And that's the beauty of it. That's what I really love about the program is seeing the results that my clients are getting. And they're literally getting their life back is what's happening to them and revisiting that person they used to be. Because for me, when I looked in the mirror, I got to a point where I didn't recognize myself anymore. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like myself. I was having bouts of anger, which I had never had, was just not who I was, and stressed out and not sleeping and just really uncomfortable in my own skin. And what the program gave me was just coming full circle and revisiting myself and coming back to the person that I used to know. And it's very rewarding to help clients and lead them down that path to essentially get their life back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to be contacting you because I know that even though I am a driver and a force of, natural health, I think that I would love to get my hair tested as well and work with you because I know that for me, I have some, my adrenals aren't functioning like they should be. And so I know that it's definitely time for a tune-up and like you said, to get your life back. And, even though I have an extraordinary life, I love my life a lot more than what I used to, there comes a point where you can live, you don't know what you could be living. Because those things that you just mentioned, like living with canker sores, living with headaches, living with sleeplessness, but those things have now become a part of your daily life. So where you don't even recognize that there is something going on. And the longer that they progress, and the longer that you wait, in 5-10 years, it could be cancer. So to figure out right now what's going on, that's causing the little things right now.
Yeah.
That, right?
Yeah,
to find out right now. Yeah.
Yeah, you do not want to wait until you get sick. You do not want to wait. By then, say you get a cancer diagnosis, that's been going on for 5-10 years. That whole process of breakdown in your body and nutrition, the breakdown of your immune system, the chemicals interacting and synergistically potentiating each other, that's been going on for years. So you don't be a sitting duck and wait. All the toxins in our body and chemicals and metals, etc., they're there. The question is just how much. That's the question to be asking you. What do you have and how much of it do you have? And what do you need to do about it? And, prevention is the key. And so that's why I do what I do to help to just myself to prevent getting cancer and other illnesses. But not only that, you correct your metabolic rate. A lot of women have a very, very slow metabolic rate because they have calcium toxicity, essentially. And you can get rid of that. That's slowing down people's metabolism, and that slows down your body's ability to function in all areas, not just your weight. But it's so important to prevent, and it's so easy to prevent these toxins from causing problems. And you don't know what problems are going to cause. People get different diseases based on their genetic susceptibility, and various toxins and nutrient deficiencies will promote or turn on that switch for them to develop whatever their genetic propensity is. So no matter what it is for you, there's so much you can do. You have so much control in getting these toxins out of your body.
I had a client, wonderful, wonderful gal, who was literally going to remove her breast because she found out that she carries that gene, the breast
BRC.
cancer gene.
Yeah, the BRC one. It's so crazy to do that.
Yes. And I was like, girl, do not take off your breast. And I was like, you are a willing vessel, but I am telling you right now that is crazy. You are like 20-something years old, no kids. I was like, if you ever have babies in the future, you will have nothing to feed them with.
Yeah.
And so she's learning, she's definitely, she grew up with two medical doctors. And so they are the ones who put it in her head that you are doomed for cancer. Grandma, Grandpa, Aunt Sally, Uncle Bob, cousin, blah, blah, blah. Also, they all had cancer. So guess what? You're going to have cancer too. So let's get you tested for all the things that you have gene-wise. And then, so sorry, you should just be writing your obituary right now. Because that's the life you're going to be going down. So sorry. And I was like, first of all, that doesn't have to happen to you. And so I really I hope I opened her eyes to understand that our genes do not determine our outcome. And that it's a nurture versus nature, yes, but they go together. And we can overcome this ideology that our genes are what causes our illnesses. And
genes are just the gun. The environment is the trigger.
That's right.
And so there's so much you can do to control your environment. And granted, there's some people, they get cancer, there's a few percent. They're going to get cancer no matter what they do. There's just people, they're fast growing or what have you. There's some people that just, there's nothing that can be done. But for the other 95% of us, there's a lot that you can do in your control with your diet and lifestyle, exercise, and detox. That's the main component for people that detox their body. Those are the ones that are going to be living a long time, disease-free, not on medications. Like many people are finding by the time they hit 50, they're on several medications. It's insane.
Right.
And this can all be prevented. So many of these metals cause high cholesterol. They cause high blood pressure. They cause hardening of the arteries. They cause diabetes, uranium. A lot of my clients in Southern California have uranium toxicity, and they develop diabetes because of it. And it's not just diet that causes diabetes and metabolic disorders and blood sugar disturbances. A lot of these metals cause so many of our problems, and they can be detoxed. And you can control that aspect of your environment.
Right. And I would recommend, like I said before, I've talked to so many doctors and physicians and functional medicine doctors that really recommend do not detox by yourself. Do not think that you can go ahead and get on some sort of wacky program without seeking professional help, because you could really do some damage to yourself and not do it correctly. So in order to be efficient and do things where you're going to see a positive outcome for your health and for your life is, go to Wendy and jump on this deal on $100 off of your program is phenomenal. And to not do it by yourself, that somebody like Wendy will be there for you to make that shift in your life and to seek the results that you deserve.
Yeah,
so
and
Wendy,
oh, thank you. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, to do a detox, you do need a lot of support. And that's sort of the tenets of Mineral Power is giving clients a lot of support by email. And we have weekly webinars where people can call in and ask questions, a Facebook group. And I respond within a few hours of people emailing me with their questions or concerns. And you do need a lot of support and guidance on this type of program.
That's right. Yeah, and I have all the links for everyone to contact you. So it'll be you're just a click away for people. So thank you so much. You are such an inspiration to us all, and thank you for helping the world feel better.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.